And there goes what was a very frustrating train to be on. And hey there, it is Saturday, October 5th, 2024. The time is 4:59 p.m. and the temperature outside is around 17 degrees Celsius, and I'm here at Dundas Station. That trip, which should have taken maybe about 20-25 minutes or so from Eglinton, ended up taking closer to 45. We stopped between Eglinton and Davisville Station for about 5 or 6 minutes. Just a complete stop, no announcements. And then we stopped again at Davisville Station for even longer. But since the TTC can't be bothered to announce any delays or updates, we're all in the dark, and it gets to the point where people start looking very frustrated. And then you see some people just kind of accepting this as their fate, as being a TTC passenger. And here's a train that doesn't seem to want to come into the station, even though there's no one over the yellow line. Oh well. And to make things fun, a lot of these gates here were broken at Eglinton Station. They had tap not working signs on them. And the error message was like one of those ones you would see when Windows has an error. For the second straight day, I'm starting a video from here at Yonge and Dundas. It's quite a nice day. Annoying creature aside. Nice weather, nice blue skies. And that is the Eaton Center across the street. I need to make my way up to Bloor and Sherbourne. There's a restaurant there called Maison Selby I'll be going to, so I thought let's bring the camera and record a walk over that way. So what I'll be doing is going east along Dundas to Jarvis, and then I'll head north up Jarvis. We'll take a quick peek as what things are like in the square today. And tonight is Nuit Blanche, when the city turns into a large art exhibit. There'll be over 100 different installations. I'm not sure if I'll be going to that later, but I don't intend on recording it this year. Some people having fun. And we are on the east side of downtown. Going east on the south side of Dundas Street. This walk should be a little over 2.5 kilometers or so. I think it's been a while since I've recorded up Jarvis Street. I don't think I'm going to make this light. That's the TMU campus straight ahead. Right there's a Toronto Public Health unit. I don't see any vehicles coming. That serves as a safe injection site, and it's not uncommon to see emergency response vehicles in the area. Although the province is trying to eliminate those sites. There's the Imperial Pub. There's no one out on the patio. I guess it's just cool enough. This for the summer. It would usually be quite busy. This is kind of like a tale of two pubs. Downstairs is very different from what they call the library upstairs. That whole block is in jeopardy of getting redeveloped.
There it is.
Urban fence. It's an odd site. Next up is Church Street. And the next major street is Jarvis, and that's where I'll be heading north.
What's that? I don't know if I have a turn.
That used to be an Esso gas station. It's one of those days where you'll see people in shorts and t-shirt and others in long pants and a coat. Long pants. This intersection at Jarvis and Dundas coming up has changed quite a bit over the years. There's now tall towers on 3 of the 4 corners. If you go on Google Street View and turn the clock back, it won't be too long ago that none of those towers were there. This is an area facing massive redevelopment pressures. And of course, gentrification comes along with that. This is Jarvis coming up, so I'll be making a left here. Jarvis is a little over 3 kilometers in length. It starts to the south by the lake at Queens Quay East. And it terminates to the north just short of Bloor. The last block has been renamed Rogers Way. All right, so we're gonna go north here. And you'll notice things are quieter pedestrian-wise on Jarvis than Dundas. That building there, that kind of inverted pyramid, dates back to 1971. That was previously home to Sears Canada. It's now owned by the Ontario Realty Corporation. And there's a warehouse behind it. That used to be used by Sears for that very purpose. I always thought it looked kind of like one of those ugly government institutions. They've added this glass feature to the facade. And it's one of those buildings I find to be strikingly ugly, but at the same time, I wouldn't really trade it for anything. It's quite unique. And there's a lot of these grand old homes. Some of them you could even call mansions on Jarvis. This for a 60-story tower there. Rates weekday $190. They stay at the Inglewood Arms. You'll notice that red X in the center lane there. I think from Queen to Isabella, that center lane is reversible. It caters to northbound traffic from 3:45 to 6:30 p.m. on weekdays, and I think southbound traffic all the other times. And there's a 5-minute period in between when it is just X's on both sides during the transition. Yes, it is. Have a good day. Just asking where Queen Street is. And there's a Toronto icon, Hooker Harvey's, right here at Rogers Street. Across the street from the Econo Lodge. I don't know if these... Yeah, it's not, this hotel is closed to the public. I think it's been turned into a shelter. And I remember a long time ago, I was researching one of my videos on Google Maps, and I popped in Hooker Harvey's into Google just to see if it would come up. And lo and behold, that location popped up. That might give you an idea as to what kind of activity used to go on at night in this area. I think the advent of Craigslist and online sources kind of lent to the demise of that sort of activity. And on the right is the Allen Gardens. And we are in an area known as the Garden District, bordered to the north by Carlton Street, to the east by Sherbourne, to the south by Queen, and to the west by Yonge. There's large botanical gardens in there that's open to the public. There's the Hampton Inn and Suites. There's a mural on that building. That used to be the Primrose Hotel, but Ryerson, now TMU University, took it over and converted it into student residence. That mural is by a Spanish artist. I think he goes by the name Okuda San Miguel. Probably remembered that wrong, or at least said it wrong. It's been there since 2018, and that was converted to a student residence in 2015. That guy was just lighting up a crack pipe in broad daylight. I pointed the camera away. There's St. Andrew's Church, dedicated on the 17th of March, 1878. And we are at Carlton Street. Maple Leaf Gardens is a few blocks to the west of here. And just east of Sherbourne, you'd be in the Cabbagetown neighborhood. Someone riding their bike on the sidewalk next to someone doing the right thing. Once upon a time, there were briefly bike lanes on Sherbourne under then Mayor Rob Ford, if you remember that guy, and who wouldn't? I think it was under his term and his direction that they were moved over to Sherbourne. I think the idea was to keep Jarvis more for moving traffic through. I don't hate it. Sherbourne's got some nice protected bike lanes now. It's not much of a diversion from here.
No, you don't do it inside, I don't think. Of course you do.
There's the Betty Oliphant Theater across the street. It's presently part of Canada's National Ballet School, which dates back to 1856. And right here is a building. I had a buddy who lived in here once. Actually, it might have been this one, 437. I remember it was very long and narrow, and he didn't have a balcony. There's a grand old home. One of the richest areas in Toronto is just north of here called Rosedale, but once upon a time, this is where people with wealth would flaunt their money and build these grand old homes. I guess they weren't so old at the time. Sorry, there's the Betty Oliphant Theater. what happens when you rely on memory. And here's a restaurant that's been here forever, and a house built in 1891, the Blake House. Eight-ounce Angus filet mignon, $40. 8-ounce Angus beef strip, $35. Never been there. If you have, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on it. But in the 1800s, this is where you'd find a lot of the city's wealthiest residents. And this is Maitland Street coming up. Bell Pure Fiber, the most reliable. Mine has gone down a few times. Unfortunately, I am with Bell, but fortunately their fiber is ridiculously fast. So we are here, and this area is known as Upper Jarvis, where we're heading into. These maps are quite useful. Landmarks, accommodations. Wonder how often they're updated. And the church at Wellesley Village is just off in that direction. There's Jarvis Collegiate on the right. The Jarvis Collegiate Institute, founded in 1807. So perhaps one of the most well-known spots on Jarvis Street is coming up on the right here. And believe it or not, it's a chain restaurant. But it's one that's quite good, and this is their most unique location by far. That's just on the right, called the Keg Mansion. As I cross Wellesley. Cell phone zombie walking on the left side of the sidewalk, head buried in the phone. Just expecting people to dance out of their way. People like that must not eat a lot of shoulders. There's the Keg Mansion. That was built in 1867. It later became part of the University of Toronto. And in 1976, it was repurposed to be part of the Keg. It's just an awesome experience in there. I really like it. It's a good birthday spot. They'll give you a nice slice of cake if you tell them it's your birthday. And legend has it, it is haunted. And this property is connected to the Massey family. And over there used to be the Berkeley Bicycle Club. Now it's the Jarvis Mansion events venue. That was built in 1891 by the Gooderham family, who are also behind the Distillery District, the Gooderham and Worts Distillery District, as well as the Flatiron Building. Here's an example of one of Toronto's richest and most prominent families setting up shop in this area. There's the Princess Margaret Cancer Center Lodge. This street here is Earl Place on the right, and Gloucester Street to the left. Someone's graffitied over that development notice for a 58-story building. Usually, the residents of that building will be housed somewhere temporarily and then offered a new unit at a comparable rate in the new building. It's usually part of the deal. There's the Casey House. That's a facility housing those living with AIDS and HIV and helping them. Originally the William R. Johnston House, dating back to 1875. This is a facility that stretches for most of the block along Isabella Street. This is also where that reversible center lane ends. So you'll notice it continues south of here, but north, it is gone. And this is the foot of Mount Pleasant Road. That extends all the way up into the Yonge and Lawrence Village neighborhood. As I walk by the Evil Empire on the right, Rogers. And just north of Charles Street here, Jarvis was renamed to Ted Rogers Way. That happened back in 2009. Pedestrians, obey your signals. No. No, I will not. Rogers is a massive telecommunications conglomerate. Has their grubby fingers in a number of other industries as well. They also have a controlling monopoly over Toronto sports teams. If you thought being a Toronto sports fan was frustrating, just wait for this new era of Rogers to make it triply so. The recent track record with the Blue Jays has been nothing but abysmal. But being a corporation, all they care about is profit. And despite the Blue Jays just having multiple disasters every season, one after the other, under the same management regime, of course they doubled down and decided to keep said management regime. I can't even remember the last time they won a playoff game. 2016? They took a loaded franchise under the direction of Alex Anthopoulos, a Canadian, and Ed Rogers installed Mark Shapiro, who did not get along and fired Alex, or chased him out of town is more accurate. Brought in a yes man in Ross Atkins. And then they hired a puppet for a coach in John Schneider, who may be a good coach, we don't know. He doesn't actually get to do any coaching. And the best thing to come out of that regime is a stadium renovation. Of course, all these sports ownership is just to mostly drive people to watch Sportsnet. They now own the Blue Jays, the Raptors, the Maple Leafs, the Toronto FC. I think even the Toronto Argos of the CFL. As we go east on Bloor Street. Had to make sure that lady was going to look left. So we're going to pop into Sherbourne Station. Although I'll be back in the area 30 minutes later. This is one area I think is usually a bit busier on weekdays. There's less people coming and going through here. Oh, hi, how are you? That was a viewer. I recognized her. So the Maison Selby is just south of here. Hop into Sherbourne Station. There's the Selby. Hopefully the TTC is running a little better along line 2. It's a train, but it's not mine. Well, on that note, I hope you enjoyed this one, starting at Dundas Station, making my way east along Dundas Street over to Jarvis, then it was north up to Bloor, and east over to Sherbourne Station. Do let me know your thoughts and comments down below if you wish to support what I do. There's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down on the description, in the description. For some reason, I just thought, how much would it take for me to drink that? I'm gonna put the price at $500,000. That'll be my price. Everyone's got a price. Anywho, if you wish to support what I do, there's also a super thanks button appearing down below. I've bungled this outro. So thanks for watching. If you're going into Weeb Wash tonight, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you in the next one. Yoink.